Tommy G exposes Scientology, and it's absolutely crazy. I saw this and I thought this is absolutely something super interesting. So shout out to Tommy G. We're gonna be reacting to it and giving my thoughts all the way through. Let's get into it.
Of America's most notorious cults and reveal to you what they do behind closed doors. First, let's get you up to speed on what this religion is. Scientology is a religion that was started by L. Ron Hubbard, a man who also happens to have the Guinness World Record for being one of the most published science fiction writers of all time. It's a bit of a complicated religion, so bear with me, folks. It's based on the premise that a galactic overlord named Xenu brought billions of beings to Earth millions of years ago, chucked them into volcanoes, exploded them with bombs, and created creatures called Thetans, which essentially is this invisible spirit that attaches itself to you and is responsible for all of the negative things in your life, ranging from anxiety, addiction, emotional pain, and more. And the only way
this seems like some fictional Scientology. What is this? Like some sci-fi movie stuff. What in the world?
Remove these pesky Thetans from your body is to follow L. Ron Hubbard's foolproof process. His methods involve paying boatloads of money to the church for courses called auditing classes, and even signing yourself up for a lucrative billion-year contract to the church. This cult has a shocking list of charges against it made by former members who allege the following. From the age of 2 on, you sometimes saw your parents only once a week.
Yeah.
I remember we had one nanny, she was like 16 years old, and she was like stuck with like infants, like.
It was, that whole thought process pretty much just stopped at the point where I was like, I don't know what to do about this.
In order to investigate this religion for ourselves, we head to Scientology's 2 main hubs, Clearwater, Florida, and Los Angeles, California. What we find is a world...
Wait, there's one in Clearwater, Florida? I literally go to Clearwater all the time. That's crazy.
By secrecy. We have numerous clashes with church security, we hear heartbreaking stories from former members who were born into the religion, and we observe how Scientology has put a stranglehold on the city of Clearwater. Folks, truth is the most powerful weapon we have against lies, manipulation, and corruption. This is what Scientology does not want you to see. Fighting against Scientology. While many others would fold under the harassment and intimidation campaign that the church used on him, he has refused to be silenced. We pick him up and drive around Clearwater, and he helps us navigate Scientology's territory. Is there a place where a gathering place where they want to bring me in to tell me more about it?
There's a welcome center. So this is the Hacienda Gardens, and this is where the Sea Org members live. They sign a billion-year contract to work for Scientology. The trees are going to cover up one area or level until boom.
How in the world can you sign a billion-year contract? Is there ever a way where you can get out of this contract? That's crazy. Who in their right mind would sign something like that?
Apparently, Miscavige lives behind those trees.
We would be kept up all night and sleep for a few hours under our desk. Basically, any little sense of joy that you had, there were people marching around trying to take it away. My name is Jenna Miscavige, and I was born and raised in Scientology, and I left when I was 22 years old.
This is Jenna Miscavige. She was born into Scientology and is the niece of David Miscavige, the man who seized power of the church in 1987 after L. Ron Hubbard died and has ruled the church with an iron fist allegedly ever since. This is kind of like if Kim Jong-un's niece fled North Korea, lived to tell the tale, and we got to interview her. In Scientology, her life was tightly controlled. She endured intense indoctrination, physical labor, and emotional manipulation. Here's what she had to say.
When I was 9 years old, I did what Scientology calls a purification rundown, where I had to be in a sauna for 5 hours a day. Yeah, and I would get like bloody noses even, but you have to keep going until you achieve whatever it is they want you to. Like, you have to voice something that's the result of that program, or else you have to keep doing it, basically.
Well, my name is Serge.
A sauna? What is the Church of Scientology? Like, I thought it was like New Age type stuff, but I thought they had some Jesus mix in there too. So I am confused.
Grew up in Scientology.
And after surviving a period of horrific neglect as a child, the church began to groom him to be a rising star of their auditing team. Auditing, by the way, is one of the main exercises of this religion. It's the practice of someone getting relentlessly questioned until they are able to release painful or traumatic thoughts that they may be holding on to, believing that once they do that, they can free themselves of this negative baggage they are holding on to. This is his account of what he experienced.
The kids go from the very bottom of the org board, which is like the maids, the ones that are like 14-year-olds doing the beds of the adults that are booking rooms at the hotels, right? They recruit all the little young ones because they can have them do anything.
As a 12-year-old, basically, they put me into full-time training. So I was basically studying full-time. In Scientology, they would just call it an auditor. And then at one point that switched where I changed to be training to be the person who trains auditors.
This is Aaron Smith-Levin. His mom got him into Scientology at an early age, and after being pushed to drop out of public school at only 12 years old, he spent most of his waking hours working for the church. Now all grown up and free from the cult, he is one of Scientology's most active critics, known for his YouTube.
Growing up in Scientology, that's crazy. Like, I'm getting blown away. Who in their right mind? I'm confused on what they actually believe. Comment down below if you actually know what they believe and what they teach. Like, what are they teaching you? What are they offering you? Like, why in the world would someone want to join this?
Growing up in Scientology.
I worked full-time for Scientology from the age of 12 to 26. I was taken out of school to work full-time for Scientology. I never went to high school. I don't have a diploma or anything like that.
Aaron's brother and I become like these like child prodigies that David Miscavige and Shelley were very obsessed with because we completed the metering course and got a license. We were the first kids that were able to read the e-meter.
For reference, an e-meter is a sort of primitive lie detector that Scientology uses during auditing sessions to see if you are telling the truth. If an e-meter indicates to an auditor that you may be hiding something, even your darkest secret, you will be questioned again and again and again until you reveal that thought.
Perfectly on a video and get a pass by Shelley Miscavige, which was like the biggest deal in the world at the time.
You weren't just born into any family in Scientology, the Miscavige family. Of course, in attempting to get both sides of the story, we sent multiple interview requests to Scientology to speak to David Miscavige or a media representative. But due to the disastrous feedback they get when they do speak publicly, the church quite simply does not do interviews. In fact, David Miscavige has only done one interview with a journalist, with Ted Koppel back in 1992.
You realize there's a little bit of a problem in getting people to talk critically about the Church of Scientology because, quite frankly, they're scared.
Oh, no.
And since then, and for over 30 years, he has been radio silent except for totally scripted and bizarre Scientology-made media that looks like this.
Whatever you have heard, if you haven't heard it from us, I can assure you, we are not what you expect.
Whatever you heard, we are not a cult. And I can assure you, you will join us forever. And join us. What? I don't understand. Are they like some sailors on a voyage? Like, why do they have like this Navy type feel to it?
Man that rules Scientology like a big tough guy, little David folds like a lawn chair when it comes to any sort of accountability or questions from the public. But there may be a reason for that. Here are some of the allegations against David.
You have written a whole book about your son, and you've called the book Ruthless.
Yeah.
A very, very aggressive style and a tendency to violent outbursts that are physical in nature.
And to give you an idea of what type of guy he is, just look at what he did to his own parents that left Scientology. He and the church published hit piece websites about his parents, claiming his dad to be nothing more than a pots and pans salesman who punches his wife, and also adding that he lied about his book, saying that he was not in prison, he was not starved, and he did not have to escape from the church. And then he made his stepmom out to be a lying gold digger who wants to exploit her stepson for fame. My guy Keegan did some digging and found out that after David's parents escaped the church, they eventually settled down in West Allis, which is only 10 minutes from us in Milwaukee. He FOIA requested West Allis police records and found that Scientology
Tommy G, you live in Wisconsin? Let's go. It's a good place to live.
paid a private investigator $10,000 a week to tail his dad and give hourly reports on his activities and whereabouts. This private investigator was found with a gun, silencer, and over 2,000 rounds of ammunition in his trunk. Stalking people with private investigators is allegedly a favorite tactic of this lovely church and shows you just the tip of the iceberg of how much Scientology tries to ruin your life if you leave the religion or try and speak out against them.
I don't know how many people they squeeze into one apartment. 8 to 12, I believe.
From the outside, it looks like a normal Florida apartment complex. What they are is 2 and 3 bedroom units where you've got like 4 bunk beds in the living room, 4 more bunk beds in each bedroom. Like you could be fitting like 15 people, easily 15 people into a unit. Like it's illegal.
They'll charge you for the apartment, for the food, for this, that, and the other thing. So if you leave, there are people who leave with $100,000 bill or more.
So I was born in Scientology from...
What? So do you have to live on those apartment complexes if you join? Who would want to do that?
Very first breath that I took, I was in the billion-year contract wrapped up because my parents had been recruited to go to the AFM. My parents are from North Mexico. I grew up in appalling conditions. In Mexico, the cadet org was disgusting. It was like 100 kids. I remember we had one nanny. She was like 16 years old and she was like stuck with like infants. Like my sister also grew up there. And I remember still like her being in a crib, you know, like with full of urine, like no care for the babies at all.
Folks, we gotta emphasize what we just heard because it's so crazy. Imagine this, dozens of babies in a room, many of them crying, needing to be held, sitting in their own dirty diaper, and just one overwhelmed teenager caring for them, allegedly. It's sickening, and the reason, allegedly, this is done is because good old L. Ron Hubbard basically believes that babies should be treated like adults and they don't need any special sort of care or attention. From the age of 2 on, you sometimes saw your parents only once a week.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
So my parents worked for Scientology's most dedicated group called the Sea Org, the Sea Organization. They signed a contract pledging themselves lifetime after lifetime for 1 billion years to servitude to Scientology. It meant that they worked like 115-hour weeks. They got little to no time off.
Kids that were born into the Sea Org were taken care of by nannies. They didn't see their parents. They were lucky they saw them for an hour a week.
What are the benefits of doing all this? Why would someone devote their life to this?
When you're doing it, you think that you're dedicating yourself to an amazing cause. You think that you're like saving mankind, and it's sort of like the greatest purpose you could have.
And our parents were in the...
You think you're saving mankind? Is that how? How in the world? This is why the Christianity religion, Jesus is by far the best option. Like, he's here to save us from our sins. Yes, we live a life for him, but in whatever you do, you bring glory to God. Not literally live for a man on this earth now.
And to save the world, right? It's like they're all like stuck in this like, you know, job that they were doing for Scientology that they were prioritizing over their newborns, basically.
Well, they really believe they're saving the planet. This is like a mind control factory.
We wanted to get our feet wet with Scientology, so we went to their welcome center where they were selling the Diagnetic books, and I happen to know after doing some research that a lady named Pat sat at the front desk and she was actually a media liaison. So I thought she'd be a good person to talk to. Here's how this mission went. Good morning, good morning. Oh, I'm a travel vlogger.
No filming.
Oh, I'm just a travel vlogger. Pat Harney, you gotta relax. This is public, right? You open it up to all are welcome. L. Ron Hubbard. And who is L. Ron Hubbard?
He is a science fiction, Western fantasy author, born in 1911 in Tilden, Nebraska. He is a guy who lived an amazing life, but was a pathological liar and a con man. He basically created Dianetics as sort of this like poor man's psychotherapy, and then a few years later created Scientology.
Wow.
Hey there, how you doing?
Private property.
I'm just trying to buy a book, sir. And why is no one here answer questions?
Might come over here.
Can I buy a book first?
Private property. You can, but you can buy it out here.
Are you like a leader here?
This is crazy. So creepy and weird. Ugh. Like, it's to think about massive cults still being able to run still in 2025. Come outside?
Are you a Sea Org member?
Can you please come outside?
I will come outside if you can answer like 3 questions. I would love to come outside.
Come outside, please. This is private property.
Hey, L. Ron. All right, Pat, have a good day. I wish we could have talked more, honestly. Hey, guys, they're not really open to the public anymore. We have their Agent Smith coming.
Can you come up?
Oh, no. Agent Smith, what got you into Scientology? Oh, sorry, I'm just...
Can you watch out, sir?
Hold on, I'm standing still. He's taking a picture. I'm trying to pose. I don't want
What does he do? This is crazy. It's like an agent coming in and just about to just snipe him with the picture.
Blurry photo. The Hacienda Gardens, what time do you think I should be by later? Like, did you guys do cookouts or anything like that?
Yeah, something like that.
I bet you guys would actually enjoy...
Check out our website, check out our TV channel, okay? Fantastic.
All right.
And this is in Clearwater.
They answer no questions. I wasn't allowed to buy the book, which I was genuinely, I would have bought the book. I met Pat at the front.
Pat is the PR person here.
Oh, she's the PR person.
Uh-huh.
No one would answer even one question.
Of course not.
Next, we went to the infamous flag building to see if we could infiltrate and see what was going on inside. Unfortunately, a call to the Clearwater Police Department had already been made, and as soon as I touched the doors, I turned around and saw the police waiting for me. Looks like the police may have been called and are following us.
There was a call on a van with a suspicious vehicle, so.
A suspicious vehicle?
You guys can film all you want, but just don't antagonize them, I should say. Otherwise, they're gonna do a criminal trespass on you. So that means if you step foot on any of their property, you go to jail. It's silly.
But right now, I'm really just trying to talk to one Scientology member that'll answer.
Good luck.
Good luck. This is so creepy. Oh my goodness. That's what cults do. They don't actually tell you the truth of anything that they do because they don't want to be exposed. They don't want to give any information about anything that they actually do. And that's how you know it's a cult. For Christianity, you can test it. You can literally read everything about it and understand, is this true or not? And that's totally fine. You can come to any conclusion that you want. But for them to say it's anything other than a cult is crazy.
What is it like living in a city that's dominated by Scientology?
It's horrible. When we see them, they're marching in line like zombies, you know, down the street.
What do you think about them owning $200 million worth of real estate?
I mean, if that's what they want to do and they're not hurting anybody else, just as long as they're American citizens.
Well, they bought that whole block, 2 blocks, I believe. And across the street, too.
They pay their taxes.
They're tax exempt.
Well, I disagree with that. Elon Musk needs to get on that. It needs to be looked at, investigated, and someone to make a good decision on that, and that's going to be President Trump.
Nobody knows anything.
Is the town trying to do something to...
The commissioners are, but what can you do?
Scientology started secretly buying up all the property downtown here in 2017.
Wow.
I was working in the hotels, I was doing demolition, I was doing construction, I was doing HVAC, and I was there with several hundred kids from all over the world. I was working 7 days a week, 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, 365 days a year for 4 years.
So a lot of it was training, a lot of it was cleaning, and we did like laundry and clean the rooms of executives, so they would like inspect with a white glove to make sure that we didn't miss anything.
Tom Cruise's penthouse. Wait a minute.
Tom Cruise.
Is Tom Cruise part of the Church of Scientology? No way.
All credit to Scientology for his success. Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise because he's Tom Cruise, not because of Scientology.
Every single window is closed. Every single blinds that you could see into is closed at a certain level until it ends. They're a very don't look in here type of a place. What was going through your head when your parents decided we're going back into it?
Since my whole entire family was connected to it, it never left us. So we were still kind of like exposed
relatives were into it.
My relatives, all my aunts, all my uncles, all my cousins, everybody. I signed a billion-year contract, and now I'm there for the rest of my life. And my pay was gonna be $50 a week. So I was like, oh damn, I'm 10K and that $50 a week. I'm like, okay, I guess I just have to really make it here.
When I was 12 years old, I was moved across the country here to Clearwater, and my parents were still in California.
Any part of you say, something's not right here, something's really wrong?
I don't think that second part added into it. Not like there's something really wrong. It was, that whole thought process pretty much just stopped at the point where I was like, I don't know what to do about this.
Even the higher ups, like yes, they had some things easier, but that's really mostly at the top. I feel like Scientology is like a game of power, and everybody has to report on each other, and that's how you get to the top, is essentially by throwing other people under the bus. That's the only way you can feel important.
The way to happiness? This used to be the Lisa McPherson Trust. This is where we had our offices, right next door to Scientology's OSA, Department of Office of Special Affairs, was right there, the dirty tricks people. Right through there, that was my office right behind these windows here. All locked up. They don't want anyone to see what's going on in there now. Now that they know your cameras are here, this entire several blocks of front groups are shut down.
One thing that comes to my mind when I walk past all these empty buildings that look like they're fully functioning offices, but no one's here.
Right.
It's like North Korea. It's like a very staged play that you're a part of.
Yeah.
Yet when you look, just peek a little bit behind the surface, like there's no one. All the windows are shut. There's no sunlight coming in. There's no one here. Look. They make it look like someone just had a meeting in here, or let's see if there's a front desk right here. This is an office that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is an office that should have at least a front desk worker, if not an employee. None of this has anyone in it. No city on earth feels the negative effects of Scientology quite like Clearwater, Florida. Some fantastic reporting by the Tampa Bay Times reveals how the church has taken over the city. In 1975, the church purchased the Fort Harrison Hotel and made this their headquarters. Over the decades, the church began acquiring real estate at a ferocious pace, scooping up property after property. Since then, they've poured hundreds of millions into more than 200 buildings, owning the majority of the Clearwater downtown. Wow. Mind you, this is with tax-free money because somehow the IRS lost their balls when confronting the church, ruling in 1993 Scientology to be a tax-exempt religion. The weird thing is, they've left most of the buildings vacant, turning Clearwater into a sort of North Korean ghost town. The question is why? Insiders speculate it's because they want to show a dominant presence, but the truth is they simply do not have the numbers of people to occupy these buildings. And it's no surprise. Their peak membership numbers were before the internet, but now that their practices are widely publicized, they are unable to recruit new members and are slowly going extinct. But even as a dying empire, they still have a great deal of power over Clearwater, and they are crushing the businesses in the downtown. Just take it from Tony, a local entrepreneur who is facing dire financial circumstances because of the church.
So this is obviously our place. We start off with the Nash keys, and between like bureaucracy and stagnation, we had harassing phone calls about us not being part of the community, to get out of the town, even death threats later. But it took us 3 years to get these places open, a year and a half of permitting. More walls than you can imagine were being put up for us, but we got open.
When you say death,
I had no idea. To think that Clearwater is so close to where I am from is mind-boggling. It's crazy. Like, I've heard even people talking about it, but it's concerning and scary. And I thought that they were like some vague idea of Christianity and New Age, but this is a whole nother level. If you want to watch the entire thing, go to Tommy G's channel. It's crazy, mind-blowing. And I pray for the people in it that they will be set free, and that the people who are seriously considering it, that they will be shown the truth, and that they won't get caught up in this cult. If you've never decided to follow Jesus, I encourage you to do that today. He will set you free. You don't need any cult. You don't need any religion. Jesus will set you free from anything going on in your life. The Bible says the only way to the Father is through Jesus, and Jesus will give you life. You don't need to join any cult or any group to do that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, go check out the entire video.